Panthers on the clock now. The Bears are up now. Let's see what direction they go. The Buccaneers are on the clock now. The Jets now on the clock. Let's see what they do. On the clock now, it's the Titans. Okay, it's the Bucs now on the clock.
No, it wants to work perfectly. You ain't skip one beat. Who knows?
All right, next up, the Falcons are on the clock. Okay, it's the Falcons now on the clock.
No, see, you did it again. It's flickering on me.
All right, the Ravens are now on the clock.
See?
All right, on the clock now, the Cowboys. Okay, next up, it's the Packers on the clock. The Ravens are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. On the clock now, it's the Packers, and time is ticking. On the clock now, the Chiefs. Now we turn to the Browns. They're on the clock. Washington is now on the clock. Okay, the Chiefs are on the clock now. All right, next up, the football team on the clock. Okay, here we go. The Vikings on the clock now.
Got him. Didn't trade. They don't even know. They don't even know. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that.
All right, now on the clock, the Giants. All right, on the clock now, the Lions. And now we turn to the Jets. It's their selection. All right, next up, the Patriots are on the clock. Okay, the Ravens are on the clock now. And the Eagles on the clock now. Let's see what direction they go. And the Browns on the clock now. Let's see what direction they go in. The Jets now on the clock. The Patriots on the clock right now. Let's see who they have their eye on. On the clock now, it's the Giants, and time is ticking. The Ravens are up now. Let's see what direction they go. All right, the Seahawks are now on the clock. On the clock now, it's the Seahawks, and time is ticking. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Dolphins now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. Now the Seahawks are on the clock. Who do they have their eye on? The Falcons on the clock now. Let's see who they have their eye on. Okay, next up, it's the Dolphins on the clock. The Colts now on the clock. Let's see what they do. Okay, the Jaguars are now on the clock. The Rams on the clock now. The Falcons are now on the clock. All right, now it's the Cardinals' turn. They're up. All right, next up, the Colts are on the clock. On the clock now, it's the Chargers, and time is ticking. On the clock now, it's the Broncos, and time is ticking. Okay, next up, it's the Broncos on the clock. On the clock now, the Ravens. All right, now on the clock, the Texans. And the Chargers now on the clock. Who do they have their eye on? On the clock now, it's the Texans, and time is ticking. Now the Broncos are on the clock. Who do they have their eye on? Okay, it's the Bills now on the clock. All right, it's the Panthers now on the clock. And now we turn to the Bengals. It's their selection. The Saints are now on the clock. The 49ers on the clock now. What direction will they go? The Bills on the clock now. What direction will they go? And now on the clock, it's the Raiders. The Bengals now on the clock. Let's see what they do. Okay, the Bears are on the clock now. And now on the clock, it's the 49ers. The Panthers now on the clock. The Raiders now on the clock. The Bucks on the clock now. Let's see who they have their eye on. And the Giants now on the clock. Who do they have their eye on? Okay, it's the Titans now on the clock. Okay, here we go. The Jets now on the clock. On the clock now, it's the Falcons. All right, next up, the Bucks are on the clock. All right, the Ravens are now on the clock. All right, next up, the Titans are on the clock. Now the Packers are on the clock. Who do they have their eye on? The Cowboys on the clock now. What direction will they go? All right, it's the Browns now on the clock. The Ravens are now on the clock. The Chiefs are up now. Let's see what direction they go. The Packers are now on the clock.
How many people can sit on this boat? We got about 13 feeling, but we do 10 at a time. 13, but 10 at a time, man. It's just like a big party. It's really a big party on the water.
The football team now on the clock. Let's see what they do.
We have a ball out. Man, this dope, man. Kind of like I say, it's not as dirty.
Okay, here we go. Washington now on the clock.
I say March to October.
Yeah.
March to October. That's where all the finance going to make all your money from.
All right. Hey, we're going to do some B-roll footage because Chris pulled up jamming some music that I want to hear, but I ain't want the video.
We've got some action here, folks. They've traded this pick. We'll have the details in a moment.
We got something else to show you guys, all right?
Learn about crypto and get paid as you learn with Coinbase Earn. We've paid out over $100 million.
And now we turn to the WFT. It's their selection.
To start earning, just watch short videos, answer simple questions about what you've seen, and get rewarded. Get started today on Coinbase.com/earn.
Okay, here we go now. It appears we've got a trade.
Hey guys, I wanted to tell you about an app that I recently started using and genuinely love. So I use Get Outside for gas, and if you're not familiar with this app,
Washington is now on the clock. All right, now, looks like there's a trade coming in. All right, next up, the Bengals are on the clock. Okay, here we go. The Bengals now on the clock.
All right. All right, I'll see it, man.
All right, the Packers are now on the clock.
So you saying you can work just 3 days a week and make good
Okay,
money
next
on
up, it's the Packers on the clock.
You can do it Monday through Sunday if you want to, right?
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. During the summertime.
All right, next up, the football team on the clock. On the clock now, the Jaguars.
It doesn't feel like work, man, because you got 10 people out here going to field. It's letting loose the whole week. They've been at work on tight. You know, they come out here on the water on Friday, Saturday, they just like, you know, straight to this system, man. This is important.
But somebody out there that's interested in
The Giants are on the clock.
Doing this business, like what advice do you have for them? What's the startup cost? Like things like that. That people are interested in this business.
I'll be honest with you, man.
All right, the Broncos are now on the clock. All right, now it's the Raiders' turn. They're up.
Yeah, see, this draft crap is, this could be so awesome. I don't know what's going on.
The Bills are now on the clock. All right, next up, the Jets are on the clock. The Titans on the clock now. Let's see who they have their eye on. All right, on the clock now, the Bills.
The officially licensed Lord of the Rings strategy mobile game is now available. Choose from 8 factions. You can even fight for more. Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some crazy news.
The Jets now on the clock. Let's see what they do.
We actually saw a few days ago that they had a chance to be like, hey, we're going to be actually changing up some listings and changing up some scalper things and basically making it so scalpers cannot go and list things on their website. But one very intriguing thing that we saw that our boy Johnny B hooked us up with information-wise is that they had until November 30th. So I was kind of thinking in my head.
All right, the Jaguars are now on the clock.
Few weeks, kind of how big companies sometimes go. But with actually, as of like a few days ago, it seems like Amazon has done the unthinkable, and they actually cleared out pretty much every scalper listing when it comes to PlayStation 5. So as of right now, it's purely just on Amazon and Amazon Warehouse consoles, and I want to show you guys.
All right, next up, the Falcons are on the clock.
Over here, because Amazon's been like back to back, actually doing something to stop scalpers. And as well, this will probably make it a lot easier for a lot of us trying to go get our consoles too, because with Amazon changing a lot of these things that they keep on changing, it just makes everything just a little bit smoother and a little bit nicer. So, like I said,
and now we turn to the Colts. It's their selection.
All throughout this video. So, make sure you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy. And if you guys want to, we're extremely close to 15.
All right, the Chiefs are now on the clock.
Subscribe. Would love to have you guys here. And the internet to have a chance to win a PlayStation 5, which will be some really cool updates in the next few days. So stay tuned for that. As well, you can use the link down below for all the entries. We have the Amazon
okay, it's the Rams up now. They're on the clock.
We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below if you guys want to follow us as well. Sign up for Weevil.
Okay, the Texans up now. They're on the clock.
Money. Let's see you guys go buy $100 worth of any cryptocurrency. You guys go and get free Bitcoin. Those are always linked down below. And like I said, a lot of really good news. So definitely hit the like button on this video itself. So in case you guys missed the video,
the Cardinals on the clock now. What direction will they go?
We basically have this stuff over here, as I said, my boy Johnny B sent to us about a week ago. We talked about it, where we have these direct emails over from Amazon saying important information about your Amazon listings. So
well, I guess they won't be turning in a card here. They have traded the pick away.
Possible customer experience. We have implemented additional.
The Chargers now on the clock.
Products effective 2021 11/30, so that'll be November 30th. You will not be able to list the affected products, and your listings will be removed. This action does not impact your account health. However, reinstated, you are not you're not just basically approved to list PlayStation products, and they are not accepting applications. And if they were removed, was because of an error. If it was, send us an email. So we covered this a few days ago, but at the time when we made that video, there was still a bunch, and I mean a bunch of third-party sellers and third-party markets and third-party pretty much everything up on Amazon. But, and this is why it's cool, because they've actually removed this all. It just makes so people are less likely to get scammed, less likely for random companies to get their information, their shipping information, and all of that. And it's great. So if you guys actually go to the normal PlayStation listing page, people always ask me how I actually got my PlayStation, got the pre-order on day one for Amazon itself. But basically, you guys go over here, and this is why I was in the links down below. You guys can basically go and see that there is nothing. But there is sometimes they see additional selling offers over here, which would be right here. But as of right now, there is literally nothing on the homepage. But we even saw this earlier on today. If there is an actual additional thing, they'll have a see more 5 options below the page. Is why I usually link up you just want to check or click on it just to go and see. But even as of today, if you guys go look and see on the more options for it, they are only from Amazon and Amazon Warehouse, because those are the only official resellers that are allowed from even PlayStation themselves on Amazon. So basically, as of now, before there used to be a lot of extra orders, or it's hey, here's a $1,000 console, $2,000, $1,200, but you might get a controller. All this kind of really weird side stuff, and then also as well the same stuff for the PlayStation 5 digital. It was in the same thing where they would have these third-party sellers that are not Amazon, not Sony, not literally Amazon Warehouse. They were just random people that were trying to send their consoles to the warehouse to try to resell them, try to make a quick buck, and anyone who's just maybe casually checking it, we're you know what? I've been waiting for a while. I'm just gonna spend the $800, $900 on it, or whatever. So basically, just seeing this, they have fully wiped it. As of right now, there's nothing on the page. That's why you guys might be thinking, what are you showing us? That's the point. There's really no third-party sellers, and if they are, the only ones that have popped up for this, and even you guys can see this right here, one option from earlier on today. Used console from Amazon Warehouse. And I usually do kind of go and vouch that the Amazon Warehouse isn't too bad to buy from. You have really good returning options. And a lot of the cosmetic stuff, like even for this, large cosmetic imperfections on top, front, or sides of the item. Basically, that's more so saying, like, usually it's more, you can always return it, of course, as well. But usually that just means the box itself was a little bit destroyed and messed up. So just letting you guys know. But this is awesome news. So basically, Amazon has completely gotten rid of scalpers, gotten rid of botters. At least, we'll talk about like the actual sales for a second. At least on the actual homepage itself, it is all gone. And if you guys, there's
Alright,
one
so we're just gonna reset the game and
normal
try it
PS5.
again.
It just only shows up with the proper people from PlayStation, which is great. So you just type in PS5. Like, so this is sold.